Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome to my Swift series. In this first part of the series, we're going to look at some of the fundamentals of Swift language developed by people at Apple, and now it's being released as an open source product, which means you should be able to compile and run it on other variants of operating systems such as Linux. You don't necessarily have to use a Mac to run this program. But to make things easy, I would suggest that you set this up on a Mac computer and install Xcode so things can be a bit easier. You don't have to encounter this and that issue. So let's see how to begin. First, you're gonna have to go to App Store and search for Xcode. And the first result is here. You can download and install it. As you install it, and once it might take a while, it's around 4 GB. Once you install it and launch the Xcode, you might get something like this. So don't worry, click on install and install the additional components. Once you install that, open Xcode and you should be getting a window similar to this. In this, we are not going to create a new Xcode project. Instead, we are going to create a playground. As the description says, it's exploring ideas quickly and easily. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to do some crash course, do some little stuff on Swift, and we're gonna play around. We are not going to develop a full-fledged iOS or Mac app at the moment. So let's click on create new playground, and I'll create a blank one, and I'll leave the name as it is and create it on my desktop. And there you go, you have the Xcode ready. Sorry, not the Xcode, the playground ready. The first thing first, just delete it. It might be a bit confusing for you at this moment. Leave this import UI kit as it is. So if you're coming from another programming language or programming background, then you probably have guessed that in this import UI kit means it's probably importing another set of library into this playground, which means we should be able to utilize some classes and functions that has already been developed into this playground. First thing first, so in any program, you should be able to write comments. As a best developer, as a best practice, you should always write comments. So let's see a couple of ways how you can write comments. First way is writing this /, and you can write your comments. Say when you're writing comment, please make sure it's always meaningful. If it's not meaningful, there's no point in writing a comment. Good developers write good comments. This is my first comment. So this is cool, but if you're going to write on multiple lines, you're gonna have to write this / multiple times. But the problem is line of comment. Problem is you don't necessarily have to go through this hassle. What you have to do is / and */. Now you can write your comments between these lines as much as you want. You can write your multiple line comments like this. So that is important throughout the code. Doesn't matter it's playground or a full-fledged iOS application or an Mac application or whatever the application you are developing. Please make sure you write the comments. The comments will be very helpful, especially when you are coming back to your project after a long time. Even you won't remember what you have written in your code. So at that point, the comments will be very helpful. And also think of a situation where you're working in a company, you developed your program and you have given it to the vendor, and now the vendor has taken it to another place and they want to expand the program, or they want to add a new feature. And if you have written comments throughout your code base, it will be easier for another developer to understand your code. So that's the idea behind comments. So let's move on to some interesting part of Swift programming. Throughout this course, we're gonna see, so when we do something, we want to see what's there in a variable. So for that, we're going to use this print statement. So when you print something, it will be displayed at the bottom. If you're not seeing it, probably this option is not toggled and the debug area is not visible to you. So you can switch on this and see this. This printing is really useful, especially when it comes to debugging, and you can see why I say it's very useful as we move on to next area. So next thing is variables. So if we are to declare a variable, what you have to do is my variable, and you can simply declare your variable and you can put some value to it. Here you can see that I have declared a variable called my variable, and I have assigned the value, a string value, hello world. So what is a variable? If you are not coming from a computing or computer science background, variable is it's a memory location. So whatever the value you assign to this variable is stored somewhere in the memory. So simply remember like that. So it's easy to remember that way. So variables you can manipulate. You can say my variable, currently it says hello world, and I can say bye bye world. So new value for the my variable is going to be bye bye world. So to check what is stored in this variable, you can use the print statement. So I use my variable, and I can print it again, my variable, and as you print it, you can see initially it was hello world, and then it has become bye bye world. So that's about variables. Sometimes you don't want the value of a variable to be changed. You want it to be a constant. So how do we do that? It's simple. So instead of var, so I say var my age is 33. So if I want to make a constant value, let number of days in a year, that is 365. So that's a constant value. So you see, I can change my age to 34. Another year time I will be 34 years old. But since it's let, it's a constant, I can't change it. So if I put it 366, a leap year, no, I can't change it. As you can see, the compiler is throwing an error. That's because it's a let. If I change it to var, you see the error goes away and we can assign the value. So that is it about variables and constants. A common mistake you might do is, say for example, var my name J, it's a string, and if you do something like this, the compiler is going to get confused. So please make sure when you're assigning variable there is an additional space added, otherwise the compiler is going to get confused and it's going to throw error. Next thing, let's look at different data types that we can use in Swift. The first thing is string. As you can see, my name is a string value, so I have put J, and I can put my age as 33, so that's an integer. Say balance in bank, say my account balance in bank, I can say $100, so I put 2 decimal places, that's a double. So var is male, that's a boolean value. So the good thing is the Swift is intelligent enough that it automatically decides what is the data type. But to be on the safe side, we can explicitly mention the data type. In some other languages like Java, you have to declare what is the data type. Even in Objective-C, during the good old days, we have to explicitly mention what is the data type. Here we don't have to do that, say, because the Swift compiler is smart enough to understand what is the data type that it has to assign to the variable, from depending on the type of data that we are storing into the variable. Say, for example, to be in the safe side, if we are to declare the data type manually, this is how we do it. Say my name is a string, my age is an integer, balance in bank is double, is male, my gender, it's a bool. Bool means it's a boolean value. Simple as that. So you can explicitly mention the data type, or you can just assign your value and you can proceed. There is no harm, but I would always suggest you mention the data type explicitly. It would probably help you avoid some unnecessary problems, especially when you're developing a large-scale applications. So the next thing is let's look at some of the operations, data operations that we can do. So let's delete this, and I'm going to let's say we're going to calculate. Say we have a area, we have the height of A, which is 10, and we have another variable width of A, again 10. So if we are to calculate the area of A, what we have to do, we need to multiply the height with width. So how we do it, it's simple. Height of A asterisk width of A. So let's print the value of area of A, and you can see the value is 100. So this is how you multiply values. Say you want to add some value, so let's go to the next example. Var my age is 33, and var my age next year my age is going to be 33 plus 1. And if you print it, my age next year, you can see it's 34. So this is how you add values. So as you can see, you can do the same thing to deduct the values. Say my age last year, you can say 33 minus 1, and let's print it. My age last year. Not sure why it's throwing an error. Okay, that's the issue with the Xcode. Nothing wrong with our code. So my age last year is 32. So another thing here is we don't have to write 33. The value 33 is already stored in the variable my age. So I can simply type my age here, and the answer should be same throughout. So that's how you do deductions. And let's look at how you can divide. So that's simple. Final result, and if you want to divide 100 by 10, this is how you do it, and you can simply print the final result. It's 10. So the division is done by this operator slash, and this minus is used to deduct, and this plus is used for addition, and this asterisk is used for multiplication. So those are basic arithmetic operations. So let's look at some of the string operations that we can do. So let's get rid of all this stuff. So my first name is, so explicitly mention the data type is J. For my last name, again string Mayu. Now I'm going to create a greeting text. Let's see how to do that. So I'm going to create a greeting text. So I'm going to say my hello, my first name, my last name, and let's print the greeting text. Say here you can see it says hello J Mayu, but it's a bit ugly, right? There should be a space between J and Mayu. So how we do that? First get rid of this. I can have a space here, and you see hello, this space, the space has come here, but still we are missing a space. How can I do that? So I'm going to concatenate an empty space here. There you go. This is how you concatenate a string variables in Swift. So this is not the only way. Say I have another variable, my age, which is an integer, and I'm going to create another greeting text 2, and this time I'm going to use a different string concatenation method. Hello slash bracket my first name you are slash bracket my age alt. Let's print it. Creating text 2. say hello Jay, you are 33 years old. So this is another way of concatenating strings. You have to put slash bracket, and within that bracket you can directly access any variables. I have put first name, you can put my last name here, and I have put my age, you can put last name here. So you can write as many as you want, as many brackets as you want, and you can put all the variables inside. And this is another way of doing string concatenation in Swift 4. So that's it with the Swift string concatenations. Next thing is, let's touch on functions and how to work with functions. So functions are basically a code block that you can reuse throughout your program. Say for example, if you want to eat an egg, what is the steps? So let's put a multi-line comment and write our steps. First, you buy the egg. Second, you break the egg. 3, you fry the egg. 4, you eat the egg. So if you are to eat an egg, you're gonna have to execute these 4 steps. So what we're going to do is we're going to put all these 4 steps into a function so we can reuse it. If you don't do it, what we have to do, say you got up in the morning, and you do following steps. And for your lunch, you do the following 4 steps. And for your dinner, again you do the same step. So isn't it cool if you can put all these 4 steps into a common method, and you can say you have a robot and you teach it all these 4 steps to it, and you say make me an egg, and it will automatically execute all this stuff and give you an egg scramble or omelette or whatever you want. Let's see how to do that in a function. So first thing first, when you're writing function, this is the keyword you have to write, and the function next thing is the function name. Make me egg meal. This is the function name, and this is the syntax for your function. You put brackets and then you put curly brackets. So everything you write between these curly brackets will be executed every time when you call this function. So first step, let's print buy the egg. The second step, you break the egg. Third step, you fry the egg. Fourth step, you eat the egg. So if you don't have this stuff, what you're gonna do, so let's delete this. So you get up in the morning and you execute all these 4 steps. Then for your lunch, you again execute these 4 steps. And for your dinner, again you execute all these steps. Isn't it tiring that you have to repeat the same steps again and again? So what you can do, since you have a function, you can get rid of all these 4 lines, and you can say let's put it in the top. make me egg meal. See, I'll put a divider so it's easy to see in the code. You see, you say make me egg meal, so this is how you call the function. You simply type the function name, make me egg meal, and it will print out all the 4 steps. You don't have to manually repeat the steps over and over again. So for the lunch, you do the same. You see, it automatically prints out. And again, for the dinner, you do the same. You see how easy is it? And by using functions, you are making sure that you are reusing code. So you shouldn't be repeating your code in your code base as a best practice. This is called a dry practice, which means don't repeat yourself. That is what dry means. So these 4 lines of code, instead of writing 3 times, you can simply put it in a function, and you can call the function by typing the function name. So this is why functions can be very handy. So we looked at a very basic function example, but we're gonna go a bit deeper, and we're gonna see how we can pass parameters, or how we can pass values to the function. So let's get rid of this, and let's go back to our area example. So var area, not var height of a, which is 10, var width of a, which is 10. To calculate the area, what we're gonna do, we're gonna height of a into width of a. So let's say we have another square, var height of b, which is 15, var width of b. Since it's a square, height and width are going to be same. And the area of b going to be height of b into width of b. The problem here is that you can see we are kind of repeating the code. We are manually multiplying the height and width. So let's write a function which can be reused for any square or rectangle. So I'm going to write a function, func calculate area close the bracket and curly brackets, and I have a function. So what I'm going to do now is that I'm going to accept 2 parameters into this method. How to do that? Let's say height, which is an integer, then width, which is again an integer, var area height into width, and let's print the area. So we don't need this line anymore because we are going to call the function directly. So I'm going to say calculate area, and the height is height of a, and the width is width of a. You can see it's getting printed 100. So let's go for the square B, calculate area, height of B, width of B. You can see the answer for that is 225. It's cool because you pass two values to the function and the function automatically calculates the area and prints that value. But what if I want the area to be returned? So this, okay, we are printing the value, but instead of printing, I want to get it out of the function. So how we do that? For that, what we have to do is we need to put this sign, and I'm going to say this function is going to return an integer. So inside, I'm going to return the area. So let's remove this print. We don't need that anymore because the function is returning the area out from the function. So var area of A, and this variable is getting the area which is calculated inside this function. So we can do the same here. Var area of B. So the area of B is calculated inside this function and returned and stored on this variable. So we can verify it. Let's print area of A. So you see it's 100, correct. And print area of B. Okay, that's a small. Okay, now it's go. 225. You see, it's case sensitive. So if you put a small O and if you have a capital O here, then it's going to throw error. The cases should match. So you see what happens here is we are passing the height and width to the function, and it calculates the area and returns that area. The value returned can be called like this on another variable, and when we print that variable, we can see it has returned the correct value from the function. So this is how you pass values to the function, and this is how you return a value from a function, and this is how you get the value and store it on another variable. So that's it for the functions. So we looked at this simple example how to do that. So next, move on to decision making and control flow. So this is one of the core part of any programming languages. So this is where things get interesting. This is where you make decisions. If A is equal to B, then do this. If B is equal to C, then do this. So these kind of decisions we're going to do. So there are a couple of ways you can do it, and we're going to look at two different ways that you can use to make decisions in your program. The first is if else condition. So let's delete this. Let's say my marks is 90, and so we have a criteria. See how the marks are allocated. So if 90 and above, it's A. It's 80 and above, it's B. If 60 and above, it's C. If 50 and above, D. Everyone else below 50 fail. So let's see how we can do it using if else condition method. The first thing first, so if my marks is greater than or equal to 90. Then I'm going to print A. So you can see the A is printed here. But if we change to 80, nothing is printed here. Oh, there you go. The playground has crashed, so I'm going to reopen it again. There you go. So what I'm going to do is continue writing the conditions. If marks greater than or equal to 90, then it's going to print A. Since we don't have a condition that is matching 80, it's not going to print anything. So let's do that. Else, this is how you write the second condition. If my marks is greater than or equal to 80, then print B. So you see the B is already being printed here. So I'm going to just copy it and paste it and make it 60. If it is 60, then C. And if it is above 50, then it's going to be D. And last but not least, everything else is going to be marked as fail. See, let's go through it again. So if the marks is greater than or equal to 90, we're going to give him A. If the marks is greater than or equal to 80, then we're going to give B. If the marks is greater than or equal to 60, then we're going to give C. If the marks is greater than or equal to 50, then we're going to give D. Otherwise, we're going to say, sorry dude, you fail. So let's change the marks here and see how it behaves. So let's say if it is 8 marks, it says fails. So let's put 49. Fail just by 1 mark. Let's make 50. You got D. And if we put 61, it should be C, right? C. So this is how you write, or this is how you make decisions based on values that are stored on variables. So this is how you write if conditions. So if conditions are one way of doing these things. Another common way used by developers is switch statement. So let's see how we can use switch statements in our program. So let's write our switch statement. So we begin by writing this keyword switch. Then we give the variable my marks. That is the variable we're gonna evaluate. And the case, we're gonna say 90 to 100. It's going to be A. And everything else going to be fail. Say break. As you can see, I have put 8 marks and it's fails. So if you have taken more than 90, you are pass. 91, you got A. So let's tweak this and add the rest of the conditions. Say to 82, 89, it's going to be B. And 60 to 79 is going to be C. And 50 to 59 going to be D. So let's change the values and check whether I got 30 marks, then you fail, and then you got 55 marks, you got a D, and then you got 60 marks, you got a C, and you got 85, then B, and if you have 90 marks, you got a A. So this is how you write the switch statements in Swift. So the if conditions and the switch statements are the most commonly used decision making methods in Swift development or in other development environment as well. So that's all for the control flow and decision making. So let's move on to arrays. So what is an array? So array is basically, as you can think of it as a container. So it's a place where you put all your stuff together. Say for example, if you want to keep all the days of a week into a container, this is how you do it in an array. So let days of a week, and you put the square brackets, and you can say Sunday, Monday, so on, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. So this is how you do it. So inside this days of a week array, you have 7 string variables stored. Just like all these variables, you can explicitly mention what is the type you're gonna store inside this variable. So if you put something like this, then we know all the values stored inside must be string. If you try put an integer here, the compiler is going to throw an error. So this is an array. So for example, say you don't know how many items are inside an array. So let's see how to do that, how to find that. So let's print days of a week dot count. You can see we have 7 items inside this array. So the next thing is the index. So if you want to access the value in the first index, in humans we usually count starting from 1, but in the computer languages and programming scenarios we always start from 0. So if you have to get the first element, then you need to put the index as 0. Let's see for an example. First day of the week, which is a string, and how you can access the first element, days of a week, you type the name of the array and you put a square bracket and you say 0, and if you print it, first day, now you need to put for first day of the week and says Sunday. So if you're going to access the 7th element, you're gonna put 6, because we are starting from 0, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and the answer is Saturday. So that's the basics of array. So now let's go to another example and see how other things are done. Say I'm going to create another array, my addresses. So I'm going to say my addresses, which is again going to be a string array, and say I have a shirt, and then I have a trouser, and I have socks and underwear. Okay, so I have 1, 2, oh, we need to put a bracket here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 4 elements. Let's print and see how many elements are there. Count, and says there are 4 elements. Let's delete this so we have a clear debug area. So it says 4. Say now I want to add a new dress to my collection. So how do I do that? My dresses dot append, and I can put a t-shirt. Let's count how many elements are there. My dresses dot count. No need for these contents of, you can simply do this. Okay, so my dresses dot append, then you type your new dress, and now you see the count is 5. So that means there's a new item added to this, and now we have 5 items in there. So if you want to remove an item, say I don't have shirts anymore, so I want to remove that. How do we do that? Remove shirt from my dresses. So my dresses remove at index 0, because this is the first element, so that is the 0th index. And let's print my dresses dot count. It should reduce by 1, and again it has gone back to 4. Now we don't have shirt anymore in our array, so we can simply print the array and see how it looks. My dresses, you see trousers, socks, underwear and t-shirts, and we don't have shirts anymore. So we can do the same here and see we have shirts, trousers, socks, underwear and t-shirt. We have t-shirt added here as a new element. Here the shirt is being removed from this element, this array list. So this is the basics of array. And last but not least on arrays, if you want to get rid of all the shirts, say you don't have any dresses anymore and you have given it away, or you gave away to homeless people, so you don't have any dresses at the moment. So how do we come to that scenario? So what you have to do is my dresses remove all, and if you print count, you see now you have 0 dresses, and inside the array you have nothing. So that's how you handle arrays. So next thing we're going to look at is enumerations. With enumerations we're going to wind up this first episode. In the second episode we're going to dig further into other concept of Swift. So second thing, so how we define an enumeration. So we can type enum, and we start the enums with capital letters. So now I can say direction and put curly braces, and you can type the different directions: north, case, east, case, south, case, west. So enumerations is basically predefined values, and let's see how to use it. So we have a value sun rises at, which is a type of direction. So sun rises at east, right? Directions dot east. And if you print sun rises at, the answer is east. So why we use enumerations here? We don't necessarily have to use enumerations. We can simply put a string here. But the problem is one person has typed north with capital letters and one person has typed north with small letter, and we humans are tend to make errors. So one person might type a wrong spelling for north. So there will be so much confusion. So what we are doing here is we are enforcing and making sure the user can select one of the 4 items here. It's like you are answering a multiple choice question in your exam. So you have to select one of the 4 answers. There is no 5th answer. You have to select one of the 4 answers. So that's it. The first episode is coming to end. Let's wrap up here and see you at a second episode very soon. So if you like this video, please subscribe, please like this video. Thank you very much. Have a good day.